When I think about Linkin Park, I think about my family. I grew up listening to the Beatles, Fleetwood Mac, The Doors, The Temptations, Michael Jackson, Prince. That was all coming from my parents. And I was the youngest of 5 brothers at the time. They were all listening to the same stuff I was, but on top of that, DMX, Tupac, Biggie, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Eminem had just came out onto the scene, and that was my rap and singing musical influence growing up. I couldn't stand screaming. I just could not stand screaming music. So my brother comes into the room and he's like, oh, you gotta check this out. He actually told me it was Limp Bizkit at the time. And I have no clue to this day why he said that. At the end of the song, he ended up saying, this is actually Linkin Park, man. They're a new band. But I have no clue. Don't know, whatever. He pops in this Linkin Park CD, and it's Crawling. The very first voice that I heard from Linkin Park was Chester. I immediately fell in love. I couldn't get enough of it. They became my favorite band, and they stayed my favorite band for well over a decade. They influenced me and inspired me so much through the music that I was creating. As I was growing up and experimenting and doing new things, I'm making my own music, and Linkin Park was my foundation for my sound. They not only inspired the music that I was creating, but they inspired the music that I ended up listening to this day. Like I said, I hated screaming in songs, but Linkin Park was like my gateway band into it. If it wasn't for Linkin Park, I would not have gotten into Il Nino. I wouldn't have gotten into Chiodos. I wouldn't have gotten into Scary Kids Scaring Kids. I guarantee I wouldn't have loved Nirvana the way that I do. I wouldn't have loved Dance Gavin Dance. I wouldn't have loved Deftones and A Perfect Circle and System of a Down. Like, I couldn't take this just, you know what I'm saying? Like, in screaming, and just like, I just couldn't handle it. But Linkin Park eased me into that. And I'm extremely grateful for that, because not only did it open me up to a lot of amazing bands, amazing songs, just fantastic music, but it allowed me through that to connect with different people. Like, I wouldn't have been able to make certain friends if, like, we didn't connect because, oh, you like that band? Oh, I do too. You know what I'm saying? Like, Linkin Park was the catalyst for all of this. And then I ended up passing Linkin Park down to my little brothers. They ended up loving them just as much as me, if not more. My baby brother, mind you, he was 15 years younger than me. He wrote this letter to Linkin Park. He was 4 years old. This is this little screenshot of it, but like, he loved them. He would always put his little headphones on. He's like, I'm listening to Linkin Park, and he would sing in the end, and he loved them. I loved him. In the air, doesn't even matter. As I'm creating my own music, I had this dream that I was going to meet Mike in Chester, and I was gonna be like, hey, let's do a collab, and maybe Chester would sing on something, and Mike would rap, or maybe I could make a beat for something with them, and we just some sort of collab. It was just a dream. It was a dream. And so growing up, I set aside and I purposely made instrumentals and wrote lyrics and just set it to the side with the hope of one day making music with Linkin Park. And so years go by, and I remember waking up to a text message from my mom, and it said that Chester had passed away. And I didn't believe it. I was like, this has to be some sort of sick joke. Like, seriously, I truly thought that somebody was making just a disgusting joke. I'd start looking at site after site after site after site. I'm just like, I'm not believing it. And it just started to sit, it just sink in. And I just went silent. I didn't cry. I didn't really say anything. I just knew. It was almost like instantly, like through the shock, that if I were to say anything, if I were to listen to them, listen to their music, I was gonna cry. And I was just gonna be absolutely broken. And I had work that day. So I was like, you know what? Let me just put this to the side, because I have to go to work and I have to be, present mentally, emotionally. I have to do my job. And so I avoided listening to Linkin Park that entire day. Went to work. And when I came home, I poured myself a glass of bourbon. I went in the backyard with my speaker. My brother was out there at the time. And I said, look, bro, I'm gonna listen to Linkin Park and I'm gonna cry. Like, I can feel it. I felt it all day. I'm just warning you. And he was like, hey man, do you think, man? I turned on Breaking the Habit. And the moment Chester's voice hit my ears, I immediately started just bawling. Just uncontrollably crying. And I remember talking to my brother, and I was like, dude, this fucking sucks. Like, I feel, And what was going through my heart was, he has a family. And I was thinking of that. I was thinking of Mike. I was thinking, how are they going through this? And I'm thinking about myself. This was my favorite band. I grew up with them. Like, I was literally thinking, does my little brother know? How do I say that to him? At the time, he was 11 years old when this happened. Beyond that, as selfish as this sounds, I instantly thought, I've never been to a concert and I never got to show them my music. I will never be able to collab with them. I specifically wrote lyrics and made beats designed for Chester, and that's not gonna happen. So it felt like a dream, a childhood dream was literally ripped out of me. Chester's passing really hurt on so many levels for me. Like I said, I never met the man. He seemed amazing. I would have loved to have met him. I'm saying all of this because Linkin Park means something to me. I love Linkin Park. I didn't want to listen to this new album. I was avoiding it because, as biased as it may sound, I did not want to tarnish what Linkin Park means to me. And Linkin Park to me has Chester in it. Sorry for the way I'm talking, honest to God, I think about it, and it just brings back like so many childhood memories when I think about Linkin Park and Chester and this. But I'm gonna go ahead and listen to the new album, and I'm gonna just give a little bit of notes, piece by piece, like song by song, really, and then I'm gonna talk about how I feel about the new singer, because I do have some thoughts on her. And just kind of the entire direction of Linkin Park at the moment. Yeah, here we go. All right, so I listened to the entire album. I only listened to it one time, mind you. But when I'm listening to the intro of this, it sounds like Crawling. And it sounds like the Crawling version from Reanimation. Obviously, we get the voices of, like from zero, like starting from zero. Like, we'll get to that. Emptiness Machine. I'm not a fan of their voices on this song. I like any of the voices. I actually like the flows. I like the production. I like the instrumental. It has a nice energy. It sounds like it would have fit very well on Minutes to Midnight, but there's just something about the tone of their voices that it's just not really resonating with me. That's a personal preference. It's not terrible though. It's not bad by any means. Cut the Bridge. It actually, you know what? It really sounds like Bleed It Out. So we're going back to Minutes to Midnight. Not that it's bad. Yet again, not that it's bad. It's just, it sounds so much like Bleed It Out that that's all my brain can hear. where I'm not focused on this is a new song. I'm focused on this is Bleed It Out. But it's not Bleed It Out, and it's not Chester, and it's like it's a very confusing listen for me personally. I don't know how else to describe that. Heavy as the Crown. This is not what I asked for. It's just not. It's just her voice just is not resonating with me. It's personal preference. I'm just not feeling her voice on that. Like I'm trying to imagine Chester singing that. I'm like, that could be cool. I think that would have been really, really good. But even if it was Chester, I'm not a fan of the lyrics, to be honest with you. It gets a little corny. Over Each Other. This one is solid. This one actually, like, I'm vibing with this. This one sounds good. I'm not a huge fan of the drum pattern. I think it's a bit basic. It's just kind of by the numbers. It's just kind of there. I think it could have been a little bit more lively, a little bit more, a little bit more punchy or something. I don't know. But other than that, I mean, it's a solid song. I actually really like this one. I'm not going to lie. That's I like that. Casualty. Oh, I hate this. I hate it. It's just, she's yelling at me. I feel like I'm in trouble. I feel like I'm being punished. I don't know. I don't even know what I did wrong. Why are you screaming at me? Like, I'm just like, make it stop. Make it stop. I don't like it. Overflow. I like the beat. I love the instrumental and what they were doing melodically with the instruments, but then as soon as Mike started doing whatever he was doing, no offense, but I just immediately wanted the song to end, and that feeling just didn't escape me the entire listen. I don't like it. Two-Faced. I really enjoy Mike's rapping on this. It sounds like Figure 9, but I'm feeling the overall vibe of it, but maybe it's because it reminds me of an old Linkin Park song. But lyrically, it's a little corny. Melodically, it sounds like Figure 9, so I'm like, I don't really know how to feel about it, to be honest. But if I really had to be like, not really feeling it. Stained, the beat on this one is dope. I just really feel like Mike should have taken a backseat on the singing on this one. Like, it should have been all Emily. And it just started getting corny. It felt so poppy. It felt like it was like a throwaway collab track that they were trying to do with Sia. And no disrespect to Sia, by the way. It just wasn't working out for me on that one. They were so close. I give everything I have. This one is solid. I love Emily on this. Her voice is really, really good on this instrumental. I love the little mic bits in there. I'm not a big fan of the intro, but it is what it is. Like, whatever. This one has great energy. It surprisingly actually feels like old Linkin Park. I'm not gonna lie. This one, I actually really like this one. This one's good. Good Things Go. I really love the melodies, the harmonies, the beat. I'm just not feeling Mike singing. That's just a personal thing here. It just doesn't sound like Linkin Park. It's too poppy. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's just meh. So after listening to the entire album, if I was going to put a number on this as of right now, the way that I rate things is 1 is complete and utter just dog doo-doo. 10 is basically the closest you can get to a masterpiece, and 5 being just average. It's just there. It's just like, I'm gonna have to give this a 5. It's not the shit show that I thought it was gonna be. To be honest, but it's not anything special. It's just there. And even if Chester sang this exact album, take all the Emily pieces out and have Chester actually sing those pieces, it's the same songs but with Chester's voice, I would give it the exact same score, to be honest. I think a lot of the lyrics are corny, a lot of the flows, they rehash too much. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh, we're gonna go back to the beginning and like, this is what Linkin Park was at this era. We're gonna go back there. That's one thing, but to just straight up hit play on something and I'm instantly like, that's Bleed It Out. that's Figure 09. Like, it's just not working for me. But the production is great. It's mixed very well. A lot of the songs have really, really good high energy. Personally, just I'm not vibing with it. It's not something that I'm gonna go back to. I might go back to one or two songs, but overall, it's very forgettable. It's very just by the numbers. When I think about this, there's so many comments. The amount that I have read, I couldn't put everything here obviously, but there's just so much resistance to what Linkin Park is doing right now, and I'm a part of it, to be honest. And also I see a lot of comments of people saying Emily can't sing, she's a terrible singer. I'm like, that's wild. She can absolutely sing. If you go back and listen to her band prior to this new Linkin Park journey, Dead Sarah, she can absolutely sing, and she sounds amazing with that group. I think what the issue is they took somebody that was established in a sound and then not only put them into a foreign place, they put her onto an established sound that we already know what this band sounds like, or we already have an expectation of what this band sounds like. And I think that's just a little jarring. I mean, anybody, like with anybody, that would be, I don't care what singer they put there, it would have sounded just bizarre or off-putting or whatever. So my whole thing on that is, saying that she can't sing is wild. She absolutely can sing. She just feels out of place with Linkin Park because not only of the memory of Chester, but regardless of Chester, there's a sound and a vibe from Linkin Park that we are just so used to. It's decades of music that you're putting somebody new into, and so I just had to say that. I'm like, dude, you like you like Emily's watching this, like, you can sing, like no doubt. I just think it's just absolutely just it's just a little jarring. We're just always so used to Chester, but with that said, maybe this was, testing the waters, getting, the kinks out, and like maybe the next album with Emily, they find 100% this is the sound, this is the vibe that we're going for. This is, they find like a better like flow within themselves and as a group, and they create something brand spanking new, and it just fucking hits. And excuse my language on that, I'm so sorry. When they announced that Emily was the new singer and they were going forward, like, oh, we got this new album, here we are, it's like, I was just so against it. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that they're still using the name Linkin Park. And this is my issue with it. There's so many people that are saying, oh, well, it's Mike's band. Mike started it. Chester came in later. Mike can do whatever he wants with this band. I 100% agree. 100% agree on that. But what I'm about to say right now, I genuinely mean this. If you have better sources and better information than me, please let me know. And I'm being serious about this. Enlighten me. Please, I actually want to know this. Everything that I have been reading, Mike started the band, they were called Zero, Xero, and then he wanted it to be Hybrid Theory, but like he couldn't use these names for like copyright and things like that. And then he wanted it to be something called something Lotus Foundation or something like that. It was Chester that came up with the name Linkin Park because he used to pass by a Linkin Park, and then they changed the name to LINKIN, and so they can get the domain name and things like that. But it was Chester that thought of the name. So even though Mike was the founder of the band itself, Chester thought of the name. And so with Chester's passing, I just truly feel like Linkin Park should have passed with him, the name. And so on top of that, now we get this countdown. We have this countdown, and then it hits 0, and then it starts counting up, and then we get this grand reveal, and Emily's revealed to the world, and they're like, this is from 0. The new album's from 0. They want to say they're starting from 0. Oh, this brings me back to the intro of the entire album that said kind of sounds like crawling. You were broadcasting to the world that this is from 0, but you're not actually starting from zero. Then you introduce Emily to the world in this entire new album by her singing Chester's music, singing old Linkin Park music. That's not starting from zero. That's just going back to the beginning. That's a totally different thing. And so that kind of like, it just irked me a bit. Like that's not starting from zero. And then as I'm listening to this album yet again, like I'm hearing Figure 9, I'm hearing Bleed It Out, I'm hearing, it's like, that's not starting from zero. That's just rehashing things from the past. And oh, by the way, you're missing a extremely influential member of this entire band. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of people as far as their animosity or resistance to Emily and this new era Linkin Park, is the fact that they're using the Linkin Park name. And so I don't think there would have been so much animosity and so much resistance if Mike would have just came out and been like, hey, look guys, we aren't going to be using the name Linkin Park, but we are going to be pushing forward with new music. We're going to go out and tour. I love making music. We love making music. We want to be out in front of you guys, give you guys an experience, you know. He's extremely artistic. He's a very amazing and very talented artist. Like, I love Fort Minor. That's, you know, dude, where's Fort Minor at? I love Fort Minor. Holy moly. If you would have come out and be like, look, we're letting the name Linkin Park rest, but we are coming out with new music. We have a new singer. We're going in a new direction. Let's do this. You know, like I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that, because at the end of the day, if you didn't like the music, it's just, I didn't like the music. Like, as opposed to, not only do I not like the music, or even if I do like the music, the fact that you're using the name Linkin Park and you know Chester's legacy, and like you're removing that entire equation. So now it's literally just you making music. And I also think about that in a way like if they did the announcement in a way, the clock is counting down, hit zero, you get this cinematic of like the word zero popping on screen. There's like this X there, and it turns into a Z, and it's from zero, and it's like a little callback to Zero, Xero, the original band's name. Like, it would just made so much sense. It would have been so amazing, so beautiful, and I don't think they would have gotten the hate that they got. Look, I'm just saying it. I think this is what is the problem. And as you can see with all these comments that I posted on here, like it's not just me. And I just feel it could have been avoided with just changing the name. And there's this comment here. I've seen a lot of these. And it just gets under my skin. Just because I enjoy or I love an artist or a company or a person even, that doesn't mean that literally every single thing that they do, I have to be 100% behind and I have to 100% support. That's a wild and a very dangerous mindset to be in, straight up. I ain't gonna get all deep into that, but I love Linkin Park. I really do. I'm not a fan of what they're doing right now. Just because you don't like something that somebody is doing right now doesn't mean that you hate them entirely. It just blows my mind. We talk about true fans. What are you talking about? I've been listening to Linkin Park for damn near 30 years. Like, get the fuck out of here. At the end of the day, I do want to close this with, I love Linkin Park. I really mean no disrespect or anything. I'm just speaking my mind. I just hit record on this and I just started going. Sorry for all the cuts and the edits and things like that. I'm not used to talking in front of a camera, I'll be honest. But anywho, how do you feel about Linkin Park's new album? How do you feel about Linkin Park in the past? Do you think they should have changed the name? Do you, like, I don't know, how you feel? I'd like to hear it. Let's talk about it. But anywho, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace out.